Picture this: a misty morning in Richmond, California, on November 12, 1942, where the fog clings to the San Francisco Bay like a secretive veil, dampening the sharp echoes of metalwork and the sizzle of welding flames. Massive crowd gathers by the water's edge, eyes fixed on an enormous cargo ship stretching 441 feet long and weighing around 23 million pounds, poised to launch from the Permanente Metals Corporation yard. Number 2. This is no typical vessel. It emerged fully assembled in just 4 days, 15 hours and 30 minutes. A feat that slashed the usual 6 to 8 months of painstaking labor down to mere days. The onlookers over 1,000-strong step away from the hull of the SS Robert E. Peary. These are not seasoned shipbuilders or salty mariners, but everyday folks, farmers, educators, homemakers and office workers pulled into this whirlwind. Only weeks prior, as reporters scribble furiously and camera flashes illuminate the scene, they grasp that this moment transcends a simple ship christening. It marks the dawn of an industrial metamorphosis, a testament to American grit, ingenuity, and unyielding resolve, reshaping not just warfare, but the very fabric of production in a time when victory hinged on outbuilding the enemy. Rewind to December 27, 1940, when Henry J. Kaiser, a 58-year-old construction tycoon, renowned for erecting monumental dams like Hoover and Grand Coulee, inked his inaugural shipbuilding pact with the U.S. Maritime Commission. Despite never having constructed a vessel or managed a shipyard, Kaiser boldly pledged to deliver 30 cargo ships to aid the beleaguered British. Within 2 years, the entrenched shipbuilding elite scoffed, viewing him as an interlopera novice, meddling in their domain. Yet Kaiser envisioned ships differently, as colossal steel puzzles amenable to mass assembly, akin to how Henry Ford revolutionized automobiles when his lead engineer, Clay Bedford, toured Ford's Detroit assembly line. He observed chassis rolling past stations, where workers affixed components one by one, each mastering a singular, straightforward duty. Bedford returned to California, ignited by a vision. What if ships mirrored this streamlined process? The old guard deemed it ludicrous, clinging to their method of riveting, millions of heated fasteners hammered in by synchronized teams of experts. Kaiser championed a bolder approach, welding the ships together, a technique swifter, more economical, and robust, though not entirely unproven on smaller scales. It carried risks at such magnitude. Vice Admiral Emery Land, the Maritime Commission's head, harbored doubts. Massive welding invited potential flaws, but desperation loomed. Large German U-boats prowled the Atlantic, torpedoing Allied vessels at a staggering rate, sinking 12 million tons of shipping in 1942 alone. Britain's lifeline of supplies teetered on collapse, with no viable alternatives. Kaiser's daring proposal gained traction from the barren mudflats of Richmond. His shipyards sprang forth, defying convention, eschewing the narrow slips and towering gantries of yore. For an expansive layout reminiscent of an auto plant, colossal steel segments fabricated in dispersed zones, then railed in and hoisted by behemoth cranes that positioned entire modules. Precisely seasoned shipbuilders touring the site recoiled, declaring it a violation of sacred principles. Yet the proof lay in the pudding. Kaiser's methods delivered. He rallied an eclectic workforce, drawing in thousands: farmers, secretaries, adolescents and elders, training them not over years but in mere weeks, each honing a precise skill, welding seams, aligning plates or erecting bulkheads. This fragmentation of labor turned novices into a formidable industrial force. Production timelines tumbled. The inaugural Liberty ship demanded 197 days, the subsequent 169, then 128. By spring 1942, they churned out vessels in 70 days, eclipsing traditional yards mired in outdated rituals. Kaiser's innovation extended to concurrent fabrication. Hulls rose while engines and mounts assembled elsewhere. Cranes then integrated them in hours. What once spanned weeks now unfolded swiftly. The naval brass initially branded it folly, but Vice Admiral Howard Vickery, once a staunch critic, conceded that pursuing perfection hindered adequacy. Kaiser's creations lacked elegance, but they sailed and ferried vital cargo precisely when needed. Rivalry flared among Kaiser's facilities, his son Edgar overseeing Oregon operations, while Bedford commanded Richmond, each striving to surpass the other, shattering benchmarks. By September 1942, Oregon achieved a 10-day build. Then in November, Richmond aimed higher, commencing the SS Robert E. Peary at midnight on the 8th. Over 1,000 laborers in rotating shifts fused prefabricated bows, sterns, engine rooms, and holds by the fourth day the ship stood complete. Launching into the bay at 3:30 p.m. on the 12th, amid roaring cheers, Vice Admiral Land, once skeptical, stood awestruck, declaring that 6 months prior he would have deemed this unattainable Henry Kaiser has rendered conventional wisdom archaic. This triumph sparked a cascade of miracles. Rival yards adopted his tactics by 1943. Average Liberty ships completed in 42 days. America forged 3 vessels daily, outpacing U-boat depredations. Kaiser's empire peaked at nearly 200,000 employees, 40,000 women. The iconic Rosie the Riveters, who shattered gender barriers, proving prowess unbound by sex. Thousands of African Americans secured equitable wages in integrated teams, acquiring trades that uplifted generations. Kaiser forged not merely ships, but societies. Richmond's population surged from 23,000 to over 100,000 in 3 years. While in Oregon, he erected Vanport, a makeshift city housing 40,000 workers and kin to nurture them. He pioneered a health initiative, evolving into Kaiser Permanente, now one of America's premier medical networks by wars. His yards birthed 747 Liberty ships, roughly a quarter of the nation's 2,710 total. These utilitarian slow boxy haulers conveyed tanks, jeeps, munitions, and sustenance globally, pivotal to turning the tides. Yet this saga harbors shadows. The haste-bred vulnerabilities, brittle fractures, plagued the fleet with 1,500 incidents, 12 ships splintering catastrophically, like the SS Schenectady fracturing in port in 1943 due to subpar steel and welding stresses in frigid waters. Scientist Constance Tipper pinpointed the ductile to brittle transition, prompting design refinements in successor. Victory ships, explosions too, marred the record. The SSE O'Brien detonated at Port Chicago in 1944, claiming 320 lives, mostly African-American sailors, igniting debates on racial inequities. And the SS Grand Camp erupted in Texas City in 1947, killing over 580, underscoring perils of ammonium nitrate. Cargo post-war sinkings persisted from lingering fractures like the SS Pierre Gibault in 1945 and SS Quartet in 1952, though designed for 5-year spans. Many endured decades. Liberty variants expanded their utility beyond cargo. Some morphed into colliers for coal, others into tankers like the ZET-1SC3 series or aircraft transporters, with wooden decks to conserve steel. The clandestine Project Ivory Soap repurposed 6 into floating repair bases for B-29 bombers and P-51 fighters, complete with Sikorsky R-4 helicopter pads for medical evacuations. These adaptations underscored the design's versatility, aiding from Normandy invasions to Pacific campaigns. The blueprint stemmed from British origins, the Sunderland class of 1939, adapted via Lend-Lease, highlighting international collaboration that bolstered the Allies. Post-victory, the legacies rippled. Kaiser's modular prefabrication techniques seeded modern shipbuilding in Japan's, Nagasaki, and South Korea's. Hyundai yards influencing housing, bridges, and aerospace. Ordinary citizens empowered through training embodied enduring principles of American industry. A few Liberty relics persist. The SS Jeremiah O'Brien navigates from San Francisco, having revisited Normandy in 1994 for D-Day's 50th anniversary. The SS John W. Brown anchors in Baltimore as a floating museum, while Greece's Hellas, Liberty, and Alaskas converted Albert M. Bow as a cannery endure as welded workhorses. Admiral Chester Nimitz later reflected Japan's strategists wagered they could sink ships quicker than we built them. They overlooked Henry Kaiser, that ingenuity, not merely frontline valor, secured triumph. Kaiser's true inheritance transcends steel. It affirms boundaries as mere mirages, tradition as fallible, and human potential, when unshackled, as boundless. From that initial pact in 1940 to the Perry's launch in 1942 and the final Liberty in 1945, Kaiser and his legions didn't just assemble vessels. They forged evidence that innovation liberated from antiquity can redefine existence. And today, whenever a contemporary ship glides forth in halved time amid the clamor of metal and waves, resonates the echo of that pivotal launch, proclaiming the improbable achieved